Hello and welcome to my latest weekly video news from Madison's. Well, last week, wasn't it all about politics in terms of those big news headlines that were hitting the media, all to do with the housing minister, the ex-housing minister, Angela Rayner, who had been a very, very strong and prominent presence in the Labour government, both currently and when they sat in opposition. A lady from more humble background. She wanted to massively protect the rights of those on lower incomes who couldn't necessarily afford to get onto the housing ladder, to ensure that they had a home to live in. But she had been under scrutiny for some time. A few years ago, she was received quite a lot of critical media attention because she exercised her right to buy. Let me get the facts straight. She bought in 2007 in Stockport, received a 25% discount on her £79,000 purchase, which equated to £26,000, and she sold it 8 years later at a profit of £127,500. So that received quite a bit of negative media attention. She hadn't done anything wrong in that instance. That's why she continued on. Interestingly, that one of the things she wanted to look at was an overhaul of the right to buy, and actually to extend the period between which someone could exercise their right to buy. So currently it sits at 3 years. She'd been at her place in Stockport for 7 years when she exercised her right to buy, and she wants to increase it to 10 years. So anyway, but she hadn't done anything wrong with that. She'd just taken advantage of a perfectly legal system that was there. So yeah, media backlash, but rided it out. But sadly for her, she did not ride out what happened about stamp duty. So she did this very public statement, explaining more about her personal background, that there was a property that she owned with her ex-husband. They put it into trust for their son, and then she went on and bought another property in Hove. She should have paid an extra £40,000 stamp duty on that. She felt she shouldn't have to because she transferred the other property into a trust, but it was felt that sometimes a trust, you sort of look through it and see who are the beneficiaries of it. It's just like a kind of an eggshell that sits around it, or a wrapper, but if you peel it back, the fundamentals of who owns that property still apply, because the trust won't overcome that, and that was certainly what was felt to be happening. She said she took advice from her solicitors. Her solicitors came out and said they didn't give her any advice on it at all. She should have sought independent tax advice on it very specifically. So yeah, the report that was done into it by Sir Laurie Magnus felt that although she had been a really great public servant, she hadn't acted correctly, taken and operated to the highest standards that are required within government. So the pressure was mounting, and she resigned. It will be quite a loss for the Labour government. I think she was, as I said, a very dominant force. Lots of things that she was championing and spearheading from the opposition side for many years, and now, because she had her position in power, was looking to push those through. The £1.5 million new home, she'd wanted to dramatically improve the planning process, penalise developers that didn't deliver on time, improve the infrastructure, aid development finance for those areas. So she was heavily looking at delivering more homes, and again, all in this bid to produce more housing, more social housing for people on lower incomes to access the property ladder. The Renters' Rights Bill, she was huge behind that, really championing the rights of tenants, and that will be coming. That was meeting in the House of Commons last week. That will be coming. It's been delayed till January because it is complicated. The private rental sector is feeling the pain of that. There's no doubt that everyone wants to protect the rights of tenants, but if you make it too unattractive for landlords to be in that sector, they will simply disappear. And don't even start me on the chatter of national insurance contributions on rental income. But yes, the Renters' Rights Bill coming in to basically improve the rights of tenants to stay in a home and not be evicted from it, or suffer really punitive high rents, being able to keep their pets in there, all that sort of thing. So she was massively championing that. The right to buy scheme as well, as I've also said, That was a huge thing that she was looking at. A few other measures within that she wanted to do was to improve the discounts that you got once you have been there a long time, but not give you heavy discounts if you hadn't been there that long, and all these things about the amount of time that you've been there. And finally, leaseholder reforms. She wanted to get hold of those big punitive leaseholder structures that govern those big blocks of flats and things like that, and put them more into the rights of the ownership of the people who actually live there, and stop these heavy ground rents being charged. So she was very, very big in the world of housing, and it will be a loss. But Steve Reed, coming in, let's see what he does about it. He was formerly Minister of Environmental Health, and so now coming into a bigger role, certainly Housing Minister role, seen as a promotion. Has got an OBE actually for his contribution to the world of social giving, etc. But in Lambeth Council and Croydon, Member of Parliament since 2012. So a good, strong track record there. Let's see what Mr. Reed brings. He'll certainly be looking to carry forward all of Angela Rayner's measures that she was looking to do. Well, other political news, of course, the date of the budget was announced. Normally would be the end of October, beginning of November. It's going to be the 26th of November. That's a pain. It will just inject a bit more uncertainty across this autumn market, specifically at the higher end, where the bigger tax measures are looking to be introduced. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. Zoopla did a recent poll and said that they think a third of buyers are putting a pause on their plans. It will just be a pause. I stress this every time. People need to move for a variety of reasons. I used to work in investments. We used to have a thing saying, don't let the tax tail wag the dog, which means don't do everything because of the tax benefits. Look at the wider benefit. And home ownership is so much more than whether you're going to get taxed on it or not. So my feeling is it might stall this autumn market a bit, but then it will just surge through. We might have a busy run up to Christmas. Let's wait and see. I'll still be really busy in the world of estate agency. That's the thing, actually. A lot of people say to me, how's the market, Deborah? Busy. Oh, that's good. Not necessarily in my industry, actually. You can do an awful lot of work, which as an agent costs you an awful lot of money, and your fruitless endeavours, I would say, get you nowhere. So our viewings diary is absolutely manically panned out. Will those buyers actually buy anything? Put their plans on hold? Just keep on looking? Probably. So yeah, it's a very expensive model to support when this happens. We'll be fine, but yeah. But interestingly, this week I think I'm negotiating 4 offers so far this week. I'm recording this on a Tuesday morning, so trust me, it's fine. It's just very, very, very busy. Well, next week I'm going to talk to you about negotiating in this market, because that's something that I come up against a lot. I'm just conscious I'm probably out of time today. Interesting, how much should I start my opening bid at? I'm going to give you some tips on how to make that negotiation process work for you. And also I'm going to do a bit more of an economic look at what I think the budget and then the market beyond might hold. So I'll deliver that next week. This week, if you have got 1.75 million or above, why don't you look at these 2 beautiful properties? This one at Mayfield Road, gorgeous home. It is absolutely stunning. The current owner's an amazing kitchen extension diner out the back, and the garden is exquisite. Mayfield Road, a really beautiful no-through road set off Boyne Park. So you're fabulous for all those grammar schools. If you are thinking you want to get your child into one of the grammar schools, then now is the time to strike. But be quick, that one's proving popular. And this other one as well, which I haven't quite launched. When this goes to press, I might have launched it. Beautiful property out just outside Ticehurst. Stunning views, really spacious accommodation, over 4,000 square feet. Set in lovely land, really flexible, versatile, and presented utterly exquisitely. If either of those offers in excess of 1.75, give me a call. I'd be delighted to help. Hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.